Hello, good morning. Welcome into another episode of Good Morning Nasdaq right here on the Clover Trading YouTube channel. Getting started a little bit late here. Me and Kyle are talking. We just love hanging out with each other, and sometimes we go a few extra minutes because we have to be kind to each other and listen to what the other has to say. Welcome in, everybody. Make sure that you are subscribed to the channel here on this beautiful Tuesday morning. It's actually not beautiful. It's raining here. Pretty good all night long. Lost power for a second, but we're back. Don't have a repeat of a few weeks ago. Make sure that you hit the thumbs up button as well. You guys have been doing a fantastic job of hitting that thumbs up button. I think we got into the 40s or 50s yesterday. So as you're watching, you're sitting there and you like the content, make sure you like the content as well. Make sure you're subscribed because we post long form content every single week, as well as we're live every single morning that the market is open, Monday through Friday, 8:45 a.m. and Wednesdays at 9:15 a.m. for some live trading, which we will do tomorrow. Welcome in, Kyle, on the 30th of July, year of our Lord 2024. How are we doing?
Hello, good morning, everybody. I'm doing well. The month is almost over, which is crazy, although I feel like July has been a slow month. I'm actually kind of excited to start afresh, start anew, although August is also never really better typically for me. But anyways, yeah, it's ending, and we've got some movers, so I'm excited.
All right, we'll get into the movers. We had, one big runner yesterday, LIPO, that ended up being a pretty nice gap and crapper. I don't know if it printed above the open price. Ended up fading from the 150s all the way down to the 70s. We got another gapper right around 200% this morning, IMNN. I know there's another ticker that's like INMN or something else, or something with the same lettering with the M's and N's. But we're up 200% there up on the day, so we'll talk about that one. There's a couple small gappers. Maybe we'll talk about some just nice daily charts setting up that are on the gap scan as well, just a little bit lower on the list, like TIVC. But as always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave your concerns at the door, but questions or comments, we'd be happy to get to them whenever we have time towards the end of the half hour. And let's see, we got Gerald in here. Lane, good morning. Duff Beers, hey, good morning. How are you? Natalie with an H, hello. Wayne, yeah, we're all in there. We're talking this morning. Get in the chat over on the YouTube. Talk to each other. Let us know if you're understanding what we're putting down. And post any questions you have on tickers you want us to talk about, and we'd be happy to get to them. All right. Let's go right into it. IMNN. Let me get us over to the tracker that dilutes.
Says something. I'm seeing 9 million float.
9.38 million float. They're a biotech company. There was news this morning that they announced an 11.1 month increase in overall survival in patients with newly diagnosed advanced ovarian cancer trusted with IMN001. Sounds like good news, but I'm not sure. It's like, It's good news in the sense that it's good news, but I don't know if it's as catchy as what we've seen in weeks past.
My brain is so cynical now. When you read the sentence and said survival, I immediately thought you were going to finish it with survival of the company. Like this, like we're on the verge here.
They rounded it straight up to the 11.1.
Yeah.
Have 11.1 months left. Please invest.
Save
So
us.
they're adding 11.1 months, I think, to the life of people who have newly diagnosed advanced ovarian cancer. So that's all good and well. There, I believe I saw a bunch of phase 2 stuff. So they're still early in the process. 1 month of cash left at a quarterly burn of 5.87. Biotechs, they'd be spending that money to get the drugs produced, to try to get it out to market at some point in like a 5 to 10 year span usually. December offering from withdrawn warrants from 2020 that are registered at much higher prices. There's a May 2024 ATM from H.C. Wainwright with $4.6 million left out of $5.5 million. So that's there.
I can't prove it, but when you need cash and you've got an active ATM, I don't know why you wouldn't use it.
I would use it when you're up 200%.
Yeah, it'd be weird for them not to use it. It'd be like, what the hell's wrong with you guys? You guys need cash like yesterday.
We need cash now.
Oh, call
H.C. Wainwright.
Little remix.
So IMNN, here's the pre-market. I think they announced news last night that they were going to also do something. Let me see. News yesterday was that they're presenting something. They're reporting top line. Oh, so they had PR'd yesterday to tell us that they're going to PR this morning. And I'll tell you what, maybe that's a strategy a lot of companies should employ because it seems to have worked. From the ones all the way as high as the $3 area yesterday before going higher this morning from the 3 all the way into the high 4s. Let's take a look at the daily chart. Not all time, maybe all-time highs, but 2024 and 2023 highs, and maybe 2022. Let's keep going back.
It's on a whole lot of nothing.
A whole lot of nothing for many years and years, but pretty much fading and fading while they've probably been working on their stuff. But top left to bottom right, one big volume day that topped out in the 7s back here in 2022. And then we funneled, and then here in 2024, we've kind of had a couple pops from the low 50s into the dollars, and then have just kind of faded each time. But there's no volume on any of these attempts, so it's not something that I'm like, oh, this is a stock that goes on multi-day runs, because there wasn't really any volume and interest. We've already done 45 million in the pre-market already, and that's more than any day I've seen the last ever. So what do you think? Pretty fresh chart, pretty clean.
I mean, guys, until the trend changes, we are gonna keep it rolling.
On the crapper.
Yesterday I said what LIPO was gonna close under 140. It was even uglier than that. It didn't even print above 140, right? Or at least if it did, it was very short-lived, like maybe a minute or less. What was the high yesterday? Yeah, 150, and it was the opening minute, and then that was it. And here we are today, same kind of idea, actually same phase 2 news. On a different ticker, IMNN. Again, same similar chart, same similar history, and lo and behold, the company has zero cash left and they have an active ATM. I mean, unless there is a unforeseen squeeze that eventually will happen, a shift will happen. There will be a runner that catches a lot of people off guard. But until that does, I have to assume the odds are not in a long's favor. I just have to. And so we'll see. Again, don't say the same thing I did yesterday. Again, gun to my head. I imagine IMNN closes below where it opened. So if it opens here at 370, it's going to close, I don't know, 350, 330, 3, maybe if it gets ugly, 280, 250. Who knows? But it will be lower
230.
Yeah, -2. It could just go bankrupt. Who knows? But lower than where we open.
Yeah, a lot of similarities between yesterday and today on LiPo and IMNN. Biotechs. Not the smallest of floats. I want to say, what was LiPo, 4 million, or was it more than that? Let me look real quick.
The float for LiPo?
4 million. Wow, my brain's not bad. And IMNN, you got 9 million, so not like the smallest of small. Already up 200%. I believe LiPo was also in the 200% area as well. Already kind of ran yesterday and after hours into day pre-market. So not really any resistance to play off of here. No really big days to play off of in terms of big volume areas where I expect there to be lots of supply, but active ATM in a market in which gappers aren't really running. I think I kind of agree with what Kyle said, and it's more of just stick with what is working until something changes. And it could be IMNN, you never know. That's why it's always best to have risk parameters, have rules, manage risk in an effective way. So you don't take 4 or 5 winners in a row and then give it all back on one play because you believe that it's going to happen forever and ever and ever. Right. So that's IMNN. Not really from a long bias perspective, not really interesting just because I don't like buying stocks up 221% on the day in pre-market. Doesn't mean it can't go higher. We've seen plenty of stocks over the years gap 200% and go up another 100%, or gap up 200% and get to 300%. So again, all your rules should still apply if you're a day one buyer or seller. But that is the biggest gapper. They're probably going to have the most interest and attention on it. 226%, good price range, cheap. The only real big gapper of the day. So that is probably going to take the cake for what people are going to be watching right out of the giddy gate. Let's see what else we have. So we have a different one up. It's almost 70% this morning. JTAI. Jet AI.
Yeah, just under 50 cents here. 7 million float, what I'm seeing.
7 mil flow has AI in the name, so you'd think that they're trying to leverage that. Software segment, B2C Charter GPT app. So the Charter GPT app uses natural language processing, machine learning to improve the private jet booking experience. We've seen this one, I believe, back when AI ran at the beginning of last year. Probably was one that popped up at some point. I don't remember it ever getting too wild. We'll take a look at the daily chart here in a moment. News is that I don't see any.
I don't see any there.
Recent de-SPAC at the end of last year.
They had earnings well over a month ago. I'm looking. It's only showing me news from June, so unless they've had zero news in July, but
Negative 3.2 months of cash. Not great. They are a de-SPAC.
shocker.
They're 50-cent stock.
Shocker.
I don't see much on there. Take a look at the chart. What's the first thing you note when you see this?
Straight down. Future bankrupt.
Let's not be pessimistic here, Kyle. Top left to bottom right, we have some. Let's go. So pretty new. So starting end of 2023, we have some tops on decent volume, up into the low to mid fours. And that's since the end of last year. We pretty much faded. We have some tops in the 140 area before heading down to the dumps that we are in right now. So that's kind of a big area of resistance, 140. Not one that I expect there to be a good chance that this stock gets to today. Up 66% already, kind of buried in resistance. Has done nothing but fade after every time it does get moving and get some attention. 50-cent stock, up 67%. If you're a gap and crap shorter, maybe there's some meat on the bone there, but not a ton, with it only being up 66% on the day. Long bias, not something that really interests me at all, with no news and not a great market for gap and crap, or I don't know, gap and goes. What do you guys call them? Buying stocks that gap up on day one. So I would kind of be pretty neutral here in the sense that I don't really care what it does. But if it's 11 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and I see it as at the top of the scan, then it's something I'll add for a potential future watch.
I would agree. Nothing new. Nothing crazy here.
You're crazy.
I am crazy. Just kidding.
All right, let's see what the people are saying. Gets the people going. Make sure if you're just tuning in, you can always check in and watch these after the fact or any of our Wine Wednesdays by going to the YouTube channel, going to playlists, and then clicking on Good Morning Nasdaq or Wine Wednesday. They're just not live in public. You just have to get to the playlist and you can check them in. Also, make sure that you have hit that thumbs up button. Got over 90 of you watching, 42 likes. So I'll be honest, it's a good number. But I know there's 8 of you out there who are willing to volunteer as tribute. Hit that thumbs up button. Get us to 50.
Sent the link to my grandma.
You sent
like
it?
it?
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Cool. Gerald says pre-market looking somewhat slow today. Lots of runners on no news. IMNN top gaining on kind of nothing news. Yeah, kind of feels that way. Sometimes those are the mornings when it surprises shorts. Don't let that be you. Again, like I said, make sure you're managing risk. Any one play can be the one that takes you out of the game as a short seller, especially on day ones where the range is quite infinite and you don't have a lot of levels to play off of. But it does look to be kind of slow yesterday, kind of slow today. So just keep that in mind. Red Canada says Myra trying to gap. Okay. It is. It certainly is. All right. 9:06. We went through that kind of quickly. Thank you guys for getting it up to 58 likes there. 59 now. Any other tickers you guys want to talk about? Got a pretty cool webinar for all you 4-leaf clovers out there. You can also get in if you're not in already over at clovertrading.io. I got Jack Kellogg at my house. Jay Bones will be here, Randy Walker, and me. So 11 a.m. Tune in for that one, or make sure you catch it on repeat in the archived webinars. Someone says PCSA. There we go. That's something. Did that just start running? All right. Starting to pop back towards its highs. What do you see here, Kyle?
PCSA, 60% hot mover, 2 million share float. I mean, before I even look at the news, oh, I see it's like FDA clearance or something, FDA application. Oh, of another phase 2 in breast cancer. I don't even have to look at this long. I have to. Here's the one thing. I think we had a good question about this, like maybe last week or so, or maybe a couple weeks ago or so. My biggest weakness with gap and crap is that I don't know which one is better than the other, right? I have yet to dig deep enough to find which ones are more ideal than the other. So when I see one, I have to assume that they're all the same. And I just go with the odds. And the odds are these don't hold up well. And so when I immediately look at the same, it's the same thing. There's another phase 2 newser, another gapper, another low floater. Let's look at dilution tracker, PCSA. If they need cash tomorrow, then shocker. No, okay, this one's a little better. They have 9 months of cash left, so maybe this is the one to go. But who knows? People don't really care about fundamentals, so to speak. You know. Although, however, there's warrants at 450. Where are we trading at? No, 3. So you can put as many pieces you want together, but and even with the ATM, IMNN here could be the runner, and PCSA could be the one that craps. I've seen that tons of times where the one with dilution actually runs and the one that doesn't dies. It's just something I don't know how to differentiate them, and so we're going to stick with the all are guilty until proven innocent kind of thing. So
That's an interesting way to put it. Very American of you, Kyle.
Yeah.
I just don't like it. It's up 67%. This could be one that I look at later, and it's still up. It's got some resistance levels. It's got to fight through the 260s, the 320s. Then you have kind of a horrible drop before gapping up into the 5s. So it's not one that I'd be long biased on. You could call it, I guess, a multi-month breakout over this 270 to 320 area. But that's just not really my speed. Volume isn't that great this morning. What'd you say the news was?
Another phase 2.
Phase 2, which has not been great news recently. That they haven't responded well to it. Yeah, there's just when we're only up 40, 50, 60%, it becomes less interesting. We see plenty of those stocks run because they're kind of off the radar at the beginning. Most people are looking for those 90, 100, 200% gappers. So when you do have something kind of under the radar, those ones can get a bid and get moving. But I'm kind of with Kyle here. It's into a bunch of resistance. Every time you think it's breaking out of resistance, there's another resistance level right overhead. So I'll probably just avoid this one. But if I had to guess, I'd say it probably is lower later. There's one green day that kind of held up higher than the open back in January. That was kind of a weird one. Kind of was like a first green day off of a fade from 7 to 2. So it's kind of expected. But yeah, that's an interesting one. Processa Pharmaceuticals.
Any last
what else we
questions?
Got? Let's check a look at the scanner, see if there's anything else on there. Pretty much it. IMNN, PCSA, JTAI, and then the next one's down at 25%. Nice daily chart that I saw this morning. It was on the watch list. Kind of pulled back right now, but was gapping through the breakout levels. It's TIVC, kind of an interesting little chart, but we have seen a lot of these 3-day breakouts work. Got all the way, pretty much topped out at 1 and is right back down to up 15% on the day. That breakout level being 85. So that's an interesting looking daily chart as well. It does have some resistance overhead. That'll be one that I will be watching into the open. Natalie says, what's your take on the various crypto miners? Good or bad?
In terms of what?
That's a question for you. I don't know what that is.
You got to be more specific. If just in general, yeah, they're great. They're the only reason why Bitcoin exists. They literally run the thing. in terms of energy. Some people they're bad, but the reality is they actually don't use as much energy as people think they do, and most of it's on renewable sources. In fact, I think the goal is that all of them need to be on renewable sources. I think like 60-70% are, if I'm not mistaken. So you got to be a little more specific on what part of the miners are you referring to.
Geralt says, definitely seems good to keep in mind what the crypto companies are. With the current news, they will pop on scanners. Bitcoin ETFs on Monday were up like 10%. Another comment, I guess, for Jim.
Something to be aware of, though, is historically, things that are viewed as I don't want to say safe havens, but like, and I say this because this happened with gold for like the last, I don't know how many decades. Gold will spike into Friday to hold over the weekend because anyone was fearful, and it will sell off Monday because once the weekend's over and nothing fearful has happened, then they just dump their gold. And I think I've seen Bitcoin do that the last 2 or 3 weeks now in a row. It'll spike into Friday and then kind of sell off into Monday. So take that for what you will. It doesn't it might not mean nearly as much as you think it does. It could just be traders hedging themselves for a weekend trade.
Another question. We'll get on out of here. Are you watching BFI for a first Green Day, Dom? I hate when I get a question I've never heard of the ticker. So you never know if it was a horrible stock, like it's just not a good.
Yeah, it's either an astounding yes, why did I miss this, or absolutely not. Well, this is the reason why I'm not watching it.
20 to 75. Did you see this one? BurgerFi?
What's the ticker? BFI?
Kind of one of those that probably would have not hit our gap scan on Friday. Oh, I was traveling Friday.
I put this on my watch list last night, but it didn't do what I wanted to do. But yes, I did see this.
So 20 to 75 is almost 300%. Yes. Wait. No, you can't. It hasn't had a red day yet. So I don't know what the exact question was. Was it just on watch?
For a Green Day, maybe?
But for today or for future?
Yeah, it hasn't really.
Not today. I would add it to my list. There we go, Serve. I will be watching it going forward. I will add it to my list just because thank you for that. Decent volume on that day, too. Over 300 million. But for it to be a first Green Day reversal, it has to have had a red day. And this one, even though that day yesterday looks like weak and red on the daily chart, it's actually a day in which it closed at 47 and the previous close was 42. So yeah, one to watch going forward. The low price ones are pretty hit or miss. You really have to make sure the attention's there because you also got to think a big indicator for the first Green Days in reversals is shorts covering. And if there's not a lot of people swinging short a 50, 60 cent stock, then you don't have that extra bit of momentum. Alrighty. Well, that's the half hour. Like I said, all you four leafs, going to be a special webinar today with a couple of people you've met before or know before. I know if you were at the boot camp, the virtual boot camp recently, you heard from J Bones, you heard from Randy Walker, both having phenomenal years. Phenomenal profits this year. Jack is always, love him or hate him, we love him a little bit. But he's a stone cold killer, and he'll be there to answer your questions. So he's just walking around my house trading on his phone. So we'll be there at 11 a.m. if you want access to that or any part of our edumacation. Clovertrading.io is the place for you. If you have any questions, reach out to support and be happy to help you out. We will see you tomorrow morning in 23 hours and 59 minutes for live trading with me and Kyle. So we will see you there tomorrow. I think we'll have Wine Wednesday as well, as long as Kyle can be there. So be on the lookout for that. Keep an eye on our socials. And let's have a fantastic day, everyone. Be the best version of yourself you can be. We're going to head on over to the room. So we'll see all you Clovers over there. And I hope you have a great, great Tuesday. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Beautiful. See everybody.